First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT. You found us at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast app you choose to use. And of course, we are
live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
Hello. Yes, it's Tuesday, May 6th. We're going to talk about some NXT wrestling. May the 6th be with you, I guess you could say. Is that a thing too?
No, that's not a thing. It's done. It's done.
No, I'm pretty sure they continue it on all year round with Star Wars TV shows, movies. It's never ending. Yeah. Welcome to upNXT. If the Sith is with you, welcome. You're still welcome here. But big news coming out of Canada. We're not for sale. And never say never, but we are never, ever going to be for sale. So welcome to a fully Canadian podcast that we bring you right now. And Americans, you're still our friends. We still love you. No matter how orange someone is, we will never listen to them. And we can't hate each other. And we still love you. But you can't buy us. Okay?
Never, never, never.
Yeah, never. Never say never, but never. So that was the big news coming out of today. Canada, America, the Can-Am Express maybe one day can be, but never say never. How are you doing? Are you alive from your diseases?
No, I'm getting there. But yeah, still a bit of a road to recovery, unfortunately. But definitely getting better by the day, which is good.
You can listen to Poisonrana live from this past Sunday, where Davie was explaining that he went to Mexico. He caught some bug. You caught something. Some creature is living inside your intestines, possibly, and you had to take a few days off work and recover. And you weren't at work today, right?
No, I'm not able to go back until at least Friday.
Wow.
I'm going back to the clinic on Thursday, and we'll see from there. But yeah. Almost 2 weeks off work now.
Goodness.
So yeah, not great, not good, but means I can catch up on things like wrestling, which is always good because we are your NXT
friends.
There we go. Got to get the catchphrase out there.
We'll always be your NXT friends. We're going to chat about some NXT Battleground in a few weeks on a Sunday. Some of you may be watching Double or Nothing, but we are going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to go to Battleground. Well, we're not going to go there, but you'll catch us here on the Post Wrestling feed. John and Way are going to go live after Double or Nothing. But if you are like us and choose NXT over Double or Nothing, you can catch us live right after the show. We will be doing our Battleground post show right here at postwrestling.com. So I guarantee, I don't know how I guarantee. I don't want to put money on it, like no Double or Nothing here, Davie. But do you think there's a chance we finish our show before the Double or Nothing pay-per-view even ends?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, these shows aren't particularly long match-wise. So normally we get through these kind of NXT PLE post shows pretty quickly. I don't see Double or Nothing finishing until at least midnight. So I'm pretty confident we'll be wrapped up either as it's finishing or like as the main event's going out is what I'm thinking.
I think so too. So catch us if you are watching Battleground with us on the Sunday. We'll be live here, but we'll be live every Tuesday like we always are right now at 10:05 p.m. And then this Sunday is the day after Backlash because Backlash is a Saturday pay-per-view. And this weekend is also Mother's Day and happy Mom's Day to all who celebrate. But for some UK listeners, maybe you've already celebrated Mother's Day. So Davie, you have enlisted the UK
Our man
team. Yes. Okay. So we got our man Neil and Davie Portman this Sunday. What are you guys going to do?
I think we're going to talk about Backlash. We'll be talking about Backlash. We'll be talking a bit of SmackDown, a bit of AEW Dynamite and Collision. I might not have time for Collision with Backlash being on Saturday as well. But yes, we'll be talking about everything coming out in the world of wrestling, but focusing mainly on Backlash. So join us 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday on the Poisonrana YouTube feed, which is youtube.com/@PoisonranaPod. Or you can find the audio in your podcast feed by just searching for Poisonrana.
Yes, please search Poisonrana in your YouTube or podcast app. Hit that subscribe because you might be listening being like, oh, I'm waiting. The boys are going to pour one out or pour many out for the recent WWE releases. But we just spent a lot of time talking about it just on Sunday on an edition of Poisonrana Live. So if you haven't checked that out, go listen to all our thoughts on our favorite wrestlers being released. Actually, you know, we were pretty positive and pretty honest, and you know, these are people losing their jobs, but some people who are in this weird wrestling entertainment business, they're going to probably continue and try to continue. And we kind of fantasy book of where we kind of see some of them, and we've watched a lot of these people, especially on NXT over the last few years. So we're used to this. We're used to people leaving us, and I feel like we almost called for this prophecy last week. Maybe it was our fault because we did say like, something a little fishy here.
NXT normally tip us off a bit more than main roster was,
Yeah.
although there were a couple of red herrings on last week's show as well, for sure, which continued actually on this week's show. But
I don't want to say it, but there might be more, just judging from this show, because last week we were like, there's something going on, and I think we were right on a few of those. But I think there might be maybe some more. But yes, catch all our thoughts, and we go through everything and chat about favorite memories from all these different wrestlers over the years, especially throughout the history of NXT. So go check out Poisonrana Live if you haven't. We got tons of free shows there. Poisonrana.ca. Give us a follow. We're one follow away from 600 on our new Instagram. I say new, but our old one, never forget, rest in peace. But we're going to get to 1,000 on Instagram. So go give us a follow at Poisonrana Pod if you haven't. It's a great way to keep updated with all the stuff. Now you're going to be watching Backlash, I assume late Saturday or Sunday, because you work Saturday nights. But also this Saturday in the city is the Maple Leaf Wrestling event at Maple Leaf Gardens. I'm going to attempt to go to this, but my dumbass didn't realize that there's too much wrestling to correlate. I made plans with my mom for Mother's Day Saturday night, realizing it was this Saturday that the event is. So we'll see if my 6 p.m. dinner will stretch how many hours that I can
take her along.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know if she would. I do know who's on the card. Zach Ryder, Matt Cardona. Maybe she'll want to come see some radio. But I'm gonna try it because there are some matches on that I do want to check out. And the venue itself is historic and all that stuff. And we got to support Canada, right? We got to support Canadian, even though most of the wrestlers on that show aren't Canadian, but it's okay. It's okay.
I think it's at least 50%. It goes by the Canadian broadcasting laws, right?
I don't think it does, actually. The CRTC, you mean? No, I don't think it actually fits that standard. Looking at it, there's way too many Americans on this show. But you know what? They have announced some fun stuff for it. So even if you're not like me, maybe not attending, it's on Triller as well. So they'll upload. There's a match. What is it? Gabe Kidd, Speedball, and Michael Oku. I think that's the match that has some people's attention. And then as well as Gresham versus Zack Sabre Jr. So again, nice. I don't think there is a Canadian. Oh, Speedball, I guess, would be the Canadian representative in that. But yes. There will be some Canadian wrestlers. And while on the topic of Toronto and wrestling, Davie, next Wednesday night, Demand Lucha, the Phoenix in Toronto. If you know the history of the Phoenix in the city, it was a famous club, got shut down, and recently they're like, nah, we're a heritage site, we're a epic venue, and the city was like, nah, you can't shut them down. And many concerts and stuff are now coming back through and doing this venue, including our pals at Demand Lucha. So you will definitely be able to catch us there next Wednesday at the Phoenix. Search Demand Lucha in your socials. And if you're not, I do think they stream them as well on the IWTV website and their YouTube and stuff. But we always have a blast at these things. And there's a 5-way Lucha scramble, which, well, I already know is worth the ticket price there, because our boy Gringo, Jack Cartwheel, some WWE ID representation there and everything. But we always have a blast.
Yeah, they always put on a great show. Really looking forward to this one. Yeah, they always kill it. So if you are in the area, go along. Yeah, Phoenix. I haven't been to a wrestling show there for a long time because I didn't Smash used to run there like back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that.
Demand is doing a ring here, like doing like Ottawa, Kitchener, I think. So if you're in the Ontario area listening, definitely worth checking out. They're doing a little bit of a tour there. And I know we might do some cross promotion, but if you're, again, Ontario, in Kitchener, they're doing this big show. I'm blanking now on the name of the company, but they're doing a giant show at the Kitchener like auditorium on May 24th to Saturday. And they got a bunch of wrestlers and a bunch of stuff. So we might do some cross promotion with them because I'd love to support some Canadian independent wrestling right now. And Kitchener's just outside of the city in Toronto, but they haven't done a show there in that thing in quite a while. And I know they got some like wrestling legends and new people coming up.
Slamdemonium?
Yeah, that's it.
By Off the Ropes Studio?
Off the Ropes, that's what it was. Yeah, they are killing it, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we might have to make a road trip to Kitchener. I don't know if you've ever been to Kitchener. Is there a Kitchener in the UK, Davey? We clearly stole that name. Probably. Yeah, we stole that name from you guys for sure. But definitely looking forward to that, and always support your local independent wrestling, no matter where it is. But yeah, what else do we have going on?
Well, a bit of housekeeping. You can support us. Obviously, we're here every Tuesday on the Post Wrestling feed. If you are a Post Wrestling patron, we did do a show last week on the Post Wrestling Patreon with John Pollock talking about WrestleMania 32. Fun chat with John. We got my live perspective from being there in Dallas. Your perspective, reviewing this all these years later, 9 years later. Great chat, long show, but very enjoyable show between the three of us. So go and listen to that if you support Post Wrestling. But if you like us on there, we do our very own Patreon as well, Poison Rana Patreon. So patreon.com/PoisonRana, where we have a whole load of shows. We just had our WrestleMania slate last month, where we did Best Match Ever Triple H, looking at the greatest matches of his career. We looked at WrestleMania 18 as well as WrestleMania 9. And we have a little series going on called The Champ Is Here, where every month we're going through each John Cena title win. And last month we were joined by Jason Solomon from Solomonster Sounds Off, as well as the commissioner of House of Glory Wrestling, to talk about the 8th title run from John Cena, which was Elimination Chamber 2010. And we're going to be doing another show just later this month with Benno and Hamflet. Benno from Grapple, Hamflet from What Culture, and the two of them from their In Your House series. They're going to be joining us to talk about the 9th reign of John Cena, which involves the feud with Batista going into WrestleMania, I Quit matches, and the like. So go and check out that series. We have dropped a few for free on our Poison Rana free feed, which I implore you all go and give a follow because it's free. Why not? Go and support us that way, as we've got lots of content on there as well. But rounding off the month, we released our episode of Was Next last week, where we go back in time. We've gone right from the beginning of NXT to fill in the gaps, to fill in the shows that we never talked about. And we're up to May 22nd, 2014, which is the go-home show for the very first takeover.
Oh, yeah. First ever takeover, which we decided we will also be reviewing in just a few weeks. It'll make it the 11th anniversary. But we're talking about the win or go home edition. Bo Dallas's last hurrah, or is it, in NXT against Big E, plus the finals and semifinals, I guess semifinals, leading up to the finals of Charlotte and Natty for the takeover with Ric Flair and Bret Hart. You remember it. Oh, yeah. Plus Tyler Breeze and Sami Zayn set up a match. Tyson Kidd laid some facts for Neville before their match, and the Ascension. Remember the Ascension? We do, because we talk about it on Was Next, and so much more on this show. And then the next one we drop will be the takeover. So very exciting stuff on the Was Next, and so many shows on the Patreon. If you've never given us a shot, hey, it's $5. Get a whole month's access to go back and look at all the other shows that we've done. And if that's not enough, family member patrons get to pick stuff and we watch it and we talk about it. Well, we have a show that has always been like, oh, it was between this and this, and someone's never picked it until now. Sunil, right? He's not joining us, but he wants us to talk about Big Trouble in Little China. And you know what Jack Burton always says? He says you should support by going to patreon.com/poisonrana. $5, you'll get our review of Big Trouble in Little China coming out this week. We're recording this tomorrow. Davie has never seen this movie, but like most people, I'm going to assume you have a little bit of a soft spot for Kurt Russell, because I feel like our Patreon has become a little bit of a Kurt Russell fan club because we've reviewed a lot of his movies, and I always enjoy going back to watching some Kurt Russell. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one as well. I'll be putting you through the trivia tomorrow, as Sunil has opted out. So as we're reviewing the show together, that just means I get to be extra mean. So I hope you've been very observant for this. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Just clicking on images for this film, it looks fucking ridiculous, and I'm down for it. It's got some
iconic characters and like actors in it, like through the years, like all these actors you'll recognize from all these different movies. This Kim Cattrall, Sex and the City, is it James Wong, who's like done Everything Everywhere All at Once, and like there's so many little things there. And it's Carpenter, right? We've reviewed all the Halloween movies. It fits into that all weird kind of thing. We've done The Thing before on the 40th anniversary, so I think this is the second most famous Kurt Russell movie. Maybe if I'm going to catch heat for saying that, but I'm probably true with that. But I'm excited to talk about it. So there you go. You'll get that movie review and so much more on our Patreon. And check it out if you haven't already. I'm trying to think of I saw some movie news though. Last week I was joking to you that, hey, did Liv Morgan get cast as Gwen Stacy? Clearly I was thinking way outside the box, but she did get cast in a movie that might not be Gwen Stacy, but Bad Lieutenant Tokyo, starring Liv Morgan, if that's even her real name. And this isn't a Marvel movie, but it's from the studios Neon, which Davie, we recently reviewed. Nora is the like Oscar sweeping movie from Neon, which like this movie could get some buzz. So I might not be the big blockbuster that some people were maybe leaning towards, like myself. I'm like, oh, blonde, maybe she's going to be the Gwen Stacy, but I think this is kind of even cooler and a little interesting. So I'll probably be checking this out.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Looking at the like films the director's done, including Audition and 13 Assassins and stuff. So I think it's going to get a little bit of buzz coming out, but it'll be interesting to see how Liv Morgan does. We kind of, as you said, talked a little bit about wrestlers transitioning to Hollywood and often do a better job than people from other careers. So I'm kind of rooting for Liv on this one. I hope it works out well. And apparently she's not going to be off TV too long. She should be back by the end of May. So for all you worried about the women's tag division, don't worry. The champion she'll be back in no time.
Yes, I know a lot of people were worrying about the the WWE women's tag titles. I don't even think WWE worry about the WWE women's tag titles. But yeah, more crossovers from the world of like wrestling and everything outside. Because another thing I noticed from what I watched on Raw, I got a message from our friend Graham who said Adam Jones Penta theme, and I was like, I don't understand what that means. And then I watched Raw today, and I went, oh, Adam Jones from Tool has done like a remix for Penta, which is absolutely bonkers. Big, huge Tool fan. I've explained that I sat beside him at the only NXT taping I've been to, and didn't realize it was him until way later. I was like, oh my God. But I think this is so fucking badass.
I hope this is the start of a new trend in WWE with the music. We've been so critical of the music for so many of these superstars in the last few years, and it does add something. I think you hear it, like the stars feel so much bigger. You know, the people that come out and like Cody, everyone's singing with the song or whatever, it just makes them feel more important. And I thought this was awesome. Even when he came out and it sort of had the graphic at the bottom of, you know, who's made this music, the song, find it on Spotify. Yeah. We just reviewed WrestleMania X8 not too long ago, and everyone who came out, it was like from the Ruthless Aggression album or whatever. It just has a cooler feel, I think. And I thought the theme sounded pretty cool with the guitar riffing all over it.
I mean, we're talking about WWE releases, cutting corners. They got to make room. They got to save money for Alberto Del Rio's new contract, I guess. But let's future endeavor Def Rebel. I'm sorry. Like, I think I saw some reports that they might be doing UFC stuff, which means they're probably not going to be going away. I hope that necessarily isn't the case, but I really do hope we can move on from just using them as music. They've had some good stuff too. I don't just like write them completely off, but we should be able to, like, this is cool. Letting the dude from Tool help out on some music because it's a wrestler that he actually like fucks with. Like, this guy has been he's worn Penta on masks on stage and stuff like that. So like, this is pretty crazy. Like, Penta being one of my favorite wrestlers, Tool being one of my favorite bands, and now they're like cross promoting. Like, it's this Penta run is going even bigger than like anyone could have imagined, because I don't know how many memes on non-WWE related things I'm seeing. The Penta walk has become mainstream, Davey. We've been doing it for years, but the Penta walk is now like everywhere. So
and we were kind of way off as well on our Poisonrana show. We were predicting Jey Uso versus Logan Paul was going to be at Backlash. However, they've announced Penta versus Dominic Mysterio is going to be taking place at Backlash now.
Yeah, so, super cool. I'm down with that. I was so amazed that I saw that the Adam Jones Tool thing with Penta. So I hope we get more crossovers in the world of WWE themes. We need it. The people need it. Was there anything else from Raw that caught your attention, or that you? Yeah,
there were quite a few things on Raw this week that I liked. I really liked the Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria segment. I mean, I think we've been saying for a long time, even back in NXT, that Lyra's great in ring, but she needs to find something else, something to kind of get attention. And I thought she did that last week. I think Becky Lynch, one of the best promos out there, and has definitely been grabbing headlines from podcasts and stuff she's been doing. But I thought her promo was pretty good with the, calling Bayley garbage and calling Lyra recycling. But I really thought Lyra held her own this week. And I thought it was a real level up for her as a performer. And if the match can deliver as well on Saturday, Lyra could be turning some heads. So I think this feud has been really good for her. And we know the match should deliver. They had a great time in NXT when they had the match there. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm loving this Becky Lynch run so far. Kind of no messing around. Like, let's just get right to the feud. Becky Lynch is a baddie, but I've been enjoying stuff she's been saying as well. Like, what was it I saw today?
I have this quote here. Yeah, Becky on the post show, like the Raw show with Sam Roberts. She said, Bayley is so confused about this. She's probably paying $100 a month to her best friend to text her, referring to the Sasha Banks Mercedes pay $100 a month to text with me thing.
There was that, and then she's like, I keep hearing everyone saying how great the women's division was last year, and she's like, the women's division revolved around a guy with a stupid mustache, and also pulling out everyone's saying it's time for us to the Beckys and Charlottes of the world to give back and pass on to the next generation. She's like, I just saw a main event involving CM Punk. So I think she's firing on all cylinders. But, Lyra, it could have been a single swim situation on Raw where I think she could have just got completely swallowed up. And I thought she stood her ground and sounded pretty good.
I'm definitely looking forward to that match. Like, we know Lyra can go. It's been just like something's been missing. And I think even if she loses to Becky this Sunday, you can continue this feud. And then eventually you're going to go clearly towards the Bayley feud, unless Bayley just leaves and goes and be all elite with her friends. But I can't see that happening. And I would imagine we're going to go towards Bayley and Becky. But I think Becky instantly has my attention. I love this version of Becky. I've loved every version of Becky. Maybe not the Irish jig in NXT, but since the man, she is the biggest women's star. I see her as that. And I think Io Sky right now is the biggest star going in the champ right now. But right away, Becky coming back has reminded me, oh yeah, I love this character, and she is one of the more quick-witted, like savage, if you will, when it comes to eviscerating people and stuff. And sometimes she doesn't hold back. So I'm kind of interested in always getting her little digs in. Some people online were comparing her to Hulk Hogan. She's going off on that, like, screw you, like, come on, like, all, like, I'm not a bad human.
A lot of people going off on Hulk Hogan today.
Yeah. Also, involving Twitter and other things. The world always revolves around wrestling, but Hulk Hogan was this his new podcast? I don't know what he was talking
I don't
about.
care.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan mentioning his new show, trying to plug the wrestling thing with Bischoff, and then mentions that he knows. Well, first of all, he's been saying that he was the first guy to fight Brock since Brock left UFC, which is a complete lie, obviously. Yeah. But then he's talking about like real wrestlers, Brock and what? Benjamin Shelton, and this led
numerous times on different platforms has said Benjamin Shelton.
Oh no, really? Like he didn't even just say it once. It was
it's more than once. Yeah.
Well, he said that, and then Shelton Benjamin on social media decided to, I guess, give his 2 cents on this, and boy, did he not hold back with a gif of Will Smith saying, "Keep my name out of your fucking mouth." And he says, message to Hulk Hogan, you lost me forever with your quote unquote, don't get caught, or as you would say, apology speech. So rather than screw up my name and pretend we ever had any sort of camaraderie, which we never had, please do me a favor and keep my name out of your fucking mouth.
Love it.
Damn.
We need more Sheltons in the world for sure.
And then MVP was also on social media calling Hogan a whole bunch of other words, but wow, I got a real kick out of that. Good for you, Shelton.
Absolutely.
And that kind of that like that, you know, Shelton, he could have just come out and been like, oh, thanks, Hulk, or like thanks for that. But like, no, this guy's showing that he's like sticking up for what he believes in.
Well, it's just showing him as a bullshit merchant.
Exactly.
Again, right? Like the fact he doesn't even know his name, and he's like going, oh yeah, I've always had an eye for talent, like those people like Benjamin Shelton. It's like, come on, fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some other good stuff from Raw. We had on NXT last week the tag match involving Io and Roxanne. Well, they had a singles match last night, which I thought was pretty good. And I think they've done, like, Io had her world title run last year, and it was great. We were there at I guess the year before now. We were there at SummerSlam when she won the title, and it was great. But then, you know, the run was a little underwhelming, and barring the sort of match against Bayley at the end, but she kind of felt like a little bit of an afterthought. Whereas this time, her going into Mania really feeling like the afterthought in the feud, but has come out just feeling more over than ever. And one of the it feels like when Asuka just finally just connected with the crowd, and she's just great right now. The crowd are loving her, and I think this has been really good for Roxanne because we saw what they were capable of in ring last week. Okay, Roxanne didn't get the win, but she lost against the champion. She's been in there and had really good matches 2 weeks in a row against Rhea, against Io, and she's got a bit of a character with the whole beatdown. So I think this has been a pretty solid call up for Roxanne as well. And I guess we're building to probably a tag match down the line with Io and Rhea against Rox and Giulia. But I thought it was a pretty solid match between the two last night.
Yeah, I was kind of saying, like, Io, I think ever since Puerto Rico gave her that rub, it's just everyone has seen the light on Io Sky, and Io Sky will continue to get me high. I'm so thrilled to see how popular she's become. And like I'd say had a hell of a 2 years, but that Mania match will go down as I will say, like, the best women's match in like WWE history thus far. And I'm sure she's got a few more ready for us. And this match with Roxanne was pretty awesome. And this was just a little taste. This wasn't even a PLE. And I think Roxanne, when she finds her groove on the main roster, will easily become as a big of a star in NXT as like she will blow up as well, because the cream will always rise to the top. And that's exactly what happened with Io, right? Like we've seen what she was doing way before NXT and WWE, and then seeing her take over that show and they've put a lot behind her, and it's kind of cool to kind of see just how popular she gets. Some of the biggest reactions. She's putting on the best matches. She's even got the she's always had the banging theme song, but she's got the title and she's got the emote, the taunt,
the pose. Yeah,
and that's it. That's it. All she needs now is the catchphrase, and she could easily steal mine. And Io Sky gets you high is what she could say, and put that on a shirt. But yeah, I'm so thrilled to see Roxanne, but I'm like low key, high key, loving how fucking huge Io Sky is, and how much she is just killing it, because she's the highlight. I was asking today, I was like, should I watch Raw? I didn't watch it. I was like, fuck, Io and Rox, I gotta kind of check that out. And then as soon as I watch it, I'm like, Io is just like comes across as just one of the biggest stars. She's getting the biggest reactions, and I'm so for it. I'm about to go put on my Io mask right now and wear it for the rest of the show.
Another thing I thought something that's been a little polarizing has been Pat McAfee and Gunther taking place at Backlash. But then you watch Pat McAfee cut a promo, and I'm like, fucking let's go. I thought he sounded awesome. I thought Gunther sounded awesome. I think they're building this match up really, really well. What it's going to look like, I have no idea. But I really enjoyed their segment on Monday, and just thought Pat is possibly one of the best promos in the company.
It's so true. And we've been saying for a few weeks, it's like, we're not necessarily the bro-y sports kind of guys, but since him being on WWE TV for the last little while, he's been very impressive, and I really enjoy him. He's brought Michael Cole back to life, to being everyone's favorite commentary. And like, I'd say that's Pat. I know Vince is gone, but like, Pat is the one that helped like bring his, like, you know, his aura back of what Michael Cole like could do. And then we've seen Pat wrestle here and there, and it's been actually always good whenever he has. But then his promo, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of like people who are being negative on this, but you can't have Gunther just go after Jay again. You got to maybe pivot. I don't know.
But also think a lot of people probably didn't see his NXT stuff and only remember that the Austin Theory and like that kind of stuff. So Vince McMahon at Mania as well. Yeah. So we know he's capable of more than that. I think it's also been really smart having the episode of Stephanie's Places drop when it did, whether you watch show or not, but just having that clip showing on Raw of him being like, yeah, I always wanted to be a wrestler. Like right from a kid before football, I wanted to be a wrestler. I tell everyone I was going to be a wrestler. And I think stuff like that is going to endear him even more.
We said it a few times. We kind of did a Backlash preview on Sunday, and we've been saying again for a few weeks, like this has got to be Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon. Like we need Pat going through some walls, some glass getting thrown. Like this is gonna get pretty violent and pretty good. And I think there's gonna be some really good. Obviously I see Gunther winning this, but I think there's going to be some great hope spots.
Oh, it's the Goldberg return. Come on.
Yeah, and then of course Goldberg, if that, you know, the NFL connection or somehow that's got to get that way.
Yeah,
but unironically, I think this is the match I'm most excited in watching from Backlash.
I mean, I think Pat's winning this.
Okay, let's do
via
it.
Goldberg, but it's also I think, you know, Gunther, someone who, you know, we would go, I don't want to see him leave NXT. What they going to do to him? They're going to put him in Lederhosen. They called him Gunther. What? But he's adapted to like WWE, like storytelling so well. Like he looks incredible. I think like he looks sharp as hell out there. He sounds great on the mic and is able to like not like bastardize everything that made Gunther Walter before he came in, but feels very much a WWE character as well. I think he's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not like the most hyped for Backlash this week, but that would be the one match. Like we kind of said our piece on our Sunday show, but like Cena Randy, like sure, I guess like could it be worse than Cena versus Cody? No. So I mean it could be, but like it probably won't be, and that's how I'm going into this show on Saturday.
We've been talking about Seth needs to get the title from Jey Uso. Well, there was a thought, is it going to happen as soon as yesterday as they were in the main event? Obviously, shenanigans happen at the end with CM Punk coming out, but I thought pretty fun match for Raw standards, and especially for Jey Uso standards. I thought they did a good job here. It was elevated by the crowd who were, I thought, like
really into it.
Just into everything last night. But the highlight especially was that spear into the pedigree, which I thought was pretty cool. But then, Punk coming out for the interference. Looks like we're continuing the Seth Rollins CM Punk feud. And then as Raw went off the air, there was the Logan Paul attacking Jey Uso as well. So whether that's happening at Backlash, I think we'd have had that announced by now, but I guess further down the line.
Yeah, you could do Punk and Sammy versus Braun and Seth, and then eventually when Roman comes back, you could do Roman and Punk versus Braun and Seth, and the stuff from Heyman, which like set up that match. I laughed when they like basically kind of teased that they're going to do this title match. I'm like, oh no, they wouldn't just do that because they've already promoted the Logan Paul match, which they guess they wouldn't change at this point, and Seth versus Logan wouldn't make sense, but. I can't say I'm super thrilled about Jey Uso or Logan Paul. He's got to get past that first defense, and then we'll get the title on Seth in a rematch. I think eventually. I think that does have to happen. But I think they do need to do that tag match sooner than later. But like, are Braun and Paul Heyman getting like a 2-for-1 tanning deal? Like, what is Seth just? Oh boy, Seth. I always say comes out dressed like a loofah or whatever the fuck, but. He just looks like he's not pale, but he in comparison to the tomatoes he stands next to, it's like, holy Jesus.
I love the Kevin Owens tweet saying like, hey, you need to get the same guy.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Did he say that? Yeah, you do. Cause like they are so red. They are so red. But I liked the promo from Heyman, just almost like exploding on Jey about like the bloodline. Like I created it and all that stuff. But
and one last thing, I found the Rusev match very weird, especially, it was all Otis. It was Otis dominating the whole match, and then Matchka kick and the accolade. But I found it really odd. I thought, I know his thing is I'm going to come back and redeem these wrestlers who've become a bit of a joke. So I guess that is going 50-50 with them, but it just seems someone as low on the totem pole as Otis to dominate as much as he did in the match. But that was kind of similar with the Aleister Black match as well on Friday, where they gave Miz a lot of that as well. So I don't know. I just found that not the best debut for Rusev, I didn't think.
No, it's weird that it's kind of like the AEW, the Redeemer thing. So it's kind of like treading water, even in the quick few weeks that he's been back. So I can't say I'm invested.
Well, shall we get into some NXT?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something else that I saw this week. I know we talked. I know you're really sad, Davey, that Naito has not retired, but like stepped away from New Japan. But I'm seeing all the news sites today reporting that Naito is going to go get his 5th eye surgery, which I now realize I know why he's been doing that taunt, why he makes his entrance, because his eye probably really hurts. So he's been waiting to fix it for the surgery.
Do you know the actual reason for that?
No.
Oh, it's because when he went to Mexico, everyone was being racist because, you know, Asian people often have thinner eyes. So he'd do it back to them. He'd be like, oh, look at you with
round eye.
Wide eyes. Yeah. Kind of like the South Park joke.
I like that even more now. Well, he's also getting his knees done. And as I joked on our last show, I was like, maybe he should call up Rey Mysterio and get his knee guy. He might actually get his knee guy. So there might be another Destino in the near future. And I was excited to see. Maybe there's a chance Naito has another. He's going to have like Sean, like a second half of his career, you know?
Yeah.
Wrestling in t-shirts. This motherfucker retired wrestling in a t-shirt. That's the most Naito.
The whole thing just felt very like they weren't going to do a huge thing about it because it's like, why celebrate a guy who's like, I've decided I don't like it here anymore.
I hate you guys.
Want to go.
Yeah. Really bizarre. Really
all
bizarre.
Very odd, but again, very Naito as well, I guess.
Yeah, and they have been uploading, like they're like the TNA team. They've been uploading like the best of Naito for free on their YouTubes and stuff, so you can relive the best. But I hope his eye is okay. I hope his eye is all right, and his knees, because I was worried about it. I don't know whose knees need the surgery more: Naito, Tana, Braun Strowman. Just these wrestlers' knees, like fuck.
Yeah.
Never forget what these
I mean,
people do.
Ray has some time on his hands now, so he can maybe help these guys out.
Was it Ray's knee that gave out, or was it his ankle, right?
Ray, I think it was groin, I think. But what I'm saying is he knows he's got the time now. He's on the shelf to kind of give the advice to these guys.
All I know is you got bad knees. You hit up Rey Mysterio's knee guy. He'll sort you out.
Yeah.
He'll fix you up real good. You'll come back. Rey Mysterio does not look like, I mean, before this injury, he didn't look like he was like over 50 years old. There's no way. He wrestles better than his son at 50 something years old, which is crazy. Anyways.
Well, let us get into some NXT. NXT from May 6th, 2025. And we're not messing around. We're starting things off right away with a match. DarkState versus Joe Hendry, Hank, and Tank.
Yeah, I mean, right as NXT kicked off, they did like the earlier today, and they showed us that we know we have this battle royal, but they let us know that some of these like outsiders that would be here, like the LFG, Evolve, and we see Zachary Wentz entering, kind of showing a face-to-face with him and Wes, which I think most people, like last week we were talking about like the TNA integration, but I don't think he was a name that necessarily came to mind. So that was pretty cool to kick off the show. Like, oh, hey, like they're both going to be in that match. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Like only a few days after the NXT basically dumped his girlfriend, here he is back on NXT, but always cool to see him. And he's in the X Factor gear, so I love to see it with the green hair.
It's funny you saying that though, because they did say about the battle royal that like anyone can do it. Like technically, like if I was Eddie Thorpe, I'd be like, okay, well I'm gonna try and win that. Like,
I'm still in. I'm gonna be in it even though I'm released.
Yeah, I'll just yeah. Hank and Tank do some quick tags early on, double teaming Cutler James. There's then a tag to Joe Hendry, who hits a delayed suplex to James, which, considering the height of James, I thought was pretty impressive here. We then get the honk splash from Hank and Tank in the middle of the ring. And then Hendry with a series of fall-away slams. And then almost accidentally body slams Hank. But then they're like, oh, no, we're on the same team. So he puts him down, and they all do the Joe Hendry pose as we go to break. After the break, Hank climbs to the top as Lennox distracts the ref, allowing Osiris Griffin to Saquon Sugars, who's not legal in this match, pushes Hank off the turnbuckle, allowing DarkState to gain control. Hank then moves, sending Osiris into the ring post and manages to get the hot tag to Tank, who delivers this nice-looking over-the-head, belly-to-belly throw to Dion Lennox, and then a cannonball taking out the other two members to the floor. And then as the ref is distracted, Saquon gets involved again, taking out Hank on the outside. And then as Hendry is setting up for the choke slam, Trick Williams comes out. And they did remind us that Trick interfered in his match on TNA last week. So Hendry leaves the ring, goes after Trick. They're brawling up the stage, and this allows DarkState to demolish Hank and Tank, and they finish them off with their toss shield powerbomb.
Yeah, pretty fun match. I think we're still like seeing like the new guys of the DarkState. We're not completely used to their in-ring stuff and like how they've been doing it, but they've showed some stuff, but I wouldn't say anything that's necessarily like super flashy or super memorable, except minus that high spirits shield bomb thing that I still think looks pretty cool. So I do like that, but it was mostly Joe Hendry doing the fun stuff in this match. It was mostly Hank getting beat up and then Tank hitting some nice belly to bellies, and then they end up losing. So it was fine, but I still think as much as we got to see them wrestle, I still don't think I know enough about the DarkState guys. And I know it's not right to like compare them, even though they do dress and act kind of like the Shield. But I think the first time seeing the Shields wrestle, even on like the old days of NXT, it was a bit more like explosive. There was a bit something like a bit special, and I'm not quite seeing that yet. I still like, oh yeah, this group of guys that are taking over. I don't know.
I think Cutler James especially seems very bland. I would like more promo time, maybe. I think Saquon is definitely the one. Saquon and Lennox, I'd say, like shine. But what I will say, considering how new these guys are, I thought their timing was pretty good with all the distractions, which we've seen better people, especially on AEW, where I think the ref distraction spots are so lazily done a lot of the time. And these kind of multi-person matches can be quite frantic. And I think they all kept up like pretty well with the timing of everything, considering the experience level here.
So, like,
but I agree. I want to learn more about them. What really is their intention? Who are they as characters? It just feels a little bland and repetitive.
Like they pinned Tank or Hank, one of the champions. So therefore they should get a title match.
Tag top.
Yeah, and I would imagine that's the match at the Battleground, right? Is two of these guys. And like I'd have them take the titles. That's what I kind of mean. Like you should show how dominant these guys are by kind of putting more momentum behind them, and winning some gold I don't think would be the worst way. And they did get the win here. So I'd see that match being added to Battleground for sure.
We see Carmen, Petrovic, and Thea Hale backstage. And Carmen says that the women's division is way too deep for her to be distracted by men. And Thea says, yeah, we have to be strong. And this is where Jada Parker comes in and says, you saying you're strong, nothing has changed about you since you've come back. You're still that little yapping chihuahua. And Jada says to Carmen, look, and I told you months ago to dump him, but it wasn't him holding you back. You're just too soft. And Carmen says, well, you had a great opportunity at Stand and Deliver, and you choked. So Jada says, yeah, well, if you're froggy, jump. And we get a match set up for these two later in the night.
I always like a good frog reference.
Yes. We then see clips of some guy from Evolve who's just throwing a doll around.
Yeah, this was weird. I thought it was Yoshihiko for a second. It's
like a training doll, but it just looks so silly, especially seeing that we don't know this guy. We're like, who is this?
I got to point out, this was an awful time for my girlfriend to walk into the room. She was like, what the fuck is this guy doing to a doll? I was like, I don't know. I don't watch that show. I don't know what they do on this.
We see a returning Timothy Thatcher as well, who's been working on Evolve as well, who's doing his stick training.
Was he the Iron Sheik?
Yeah, something like
Thatcher?
that.
Didn't we lose our minds last week when they showed the graphic with Thatcher? We're like, what the fuck?
And then everyone's like, yeah, he's on Evolve, guys.
Yeah, he's on Evolve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right,
sorry. My bad.
Yeah, you know who else was on Evolve, right? Gallus,
yeah.
Yeah, if there's a few others.
Riley Osborne.
Yeah, exactly.
We then go to the No Quarter Catch crew, where we see Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne hyping themselves up for their match. And Charlie Dempsey comes in and says, look, tonight isn't about holding grudges or stealing glory. It's three individuals with one goal in mind, and for NQCC to win. And then we win the Battle Royal and take Obafemi at Battleground. And we see like Ren and Tavion are all kind of hyped up for this, and Miles is looking maybe a little off. And then Ren does the hands in the middle, NQCC on 3, 1, 2, 3. And Miles is like the last one to join in the sort of high five here. But he does. But just teasing a little bit more tension between Dempsey and Miles.
I got nervous, Davey. You know, last week, a team here on NXT, a group deformed or broke up. Deformed, I guess, is a completely wrong word to use. But a group last week broke up, and then half of them got released. I was extremely worried for a second here. But boy, was I wrong. Was I going to be wrong later on? But
yes.
Also, Charlie Dempsey's trunks were extremely tight in this. He wasn't even wrestling. You weren't even in the match. You could have had pants on, brother. You could have, but you chose not to.
Got Ren Sinclair in the scene, and you're looking at Charlie Dempsey's
I'm
trunks.
telling you, bro. He steps right in front of the camera, and I'm like, whoa, Charlie. Geez, come on. Put some pants on. I don't want to have to see that.
We go to our next match, Kelani Jordan versus ZARIA. And we have Kelani immediately takes out ZARIA with a drop kick, goes for a springboard, but gets caught into a powerbomb, which Kelani counters into a sunset flip. And then after the break, we get this huge shot from Kelani that sounded awesome, like just like rang out here. It sounded very painful. We then have Kelani. Sorry, there's a twisting handstand leg drop to the back of ZARIA's neck from Kelani. Kelani leaps off the steps with a Rana to the floor. And then we come back and ZARIA now has a sleeper hold applied, kind of Brody King style, like hoisting her off her feet as she's standing on the second turnbuckle here. Kelani then gets caught with a German, but lands on her feet. Goes for a 450, but ZARIA moves, and then Kelani eats a spear as she's landed on her feet here. However, Kelani kicks out. Jordynne then goes for the final cut reverse DDT leg drop, and ZARIA is charging at her, and Kelani low bridges her to the floor and hits a springboard moonsault, kind of Charlotte-esque here, landing on her feet. And then Kelani gets sent into Sol Ruka, who holds her, and then ZARIA just comes charging in with a pounce, putting Jordynne through the barricade. And Sol looks just shocked here at the destruction ZARIA's caused. ZARIA rolls Kelani Jordynne into the ring and hits her with the F5. Sorry, Hell's Descent, is it what she calls this?
Is that what she calls this?
I think so. And pins 1, 2, 3. So ZARIA picking up the win over Jordynne. Obviously, the stipulation here was if Jordynne wins the match, she gets a title shot against Sol Ruka. So does this mean ZARIA will be facing Sol Ruka?
What an F5, Hell's Descent. Like Kelani is a lot smaller than ZARIA, and she threw her with that thing. So it looked awesome. And then she starts to crash out. She starts to hulk up after that when she's announced the winner. And it's not until Sol gets in the ring and is like, hey, it's me, your friend. And then she's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they hug and ZARUKA embrace, which I think will eventually lead to Sol won't be able to control this monster. And eventually the person getting speared through the guardrail will be Sol, because it was almost like Sol got a first front row ticket to Kelani gets thrown into her, and then she's like, oh, sorry. And then is holding her there. And look how close Sol was from getting the spear, but it was Jordynne taking it. And I think that was done purposely to be like, hey, that could have been you, and I would fucking kill you, and I'm going to take your title. So I do imagine ZARIA eventually, maybe sooner than later, Battleground perhaps, ZARUKA implodes come NXT Battleground, because that's the match I want to see. But this is the ZARIA I've been waiting to see, because then it's almost, is it almost like, was it Fester? What's it?
Festus?
What was the other guy? Slim Jim? What's his name? No. Biscuits and Gravy, those guys. Whenever the bell rings, right, Festus would be like a monster. It was kind of the same thing where all of a sudden ZARIA is back to being friendly. But,
and Sol can calm her down.
Yeah, but oh, Goose, Fraba, whatever. But ZARIA, when she's locked in, I'm like, oh, there's the person I wanted to see in on my screen. So I'm hoping we get that monster unleashed sooner than later.
Yeah, I'm still a little unsold on ZARIA. I think we've her, when we see her do stuff like the spear and the F5 or that pounce, she's she looks great, but I'm not sure about everything else yet. It was Kelani controlling a lot of this match, and they gave most of the match. I'd say it was 80-20 to Kelani here, just ZARIA coming out at the end. So I don't know when she's up against,
I wouldn't say that. No, I don't. I disagree. The most of the match was ZARIA.
No, it was Kelani. Kelani counted everything.
She had her in
everything ZARIA tried. Kelani was landing on her feet.
No, I disagree, because during the picture in picture, it was pretty much ZARIA beating. She had her in that gory thing and was completely throwing around. She was doing the Brock gut busters. She does basically all of Brock's moves minus maybe that spear. But I think this is a reintroduction to where we need to go with her, because she's been this weird bubbly character when I don't want to see that. I want to see more of what the videos are of her crushing people, and I think that is a way more interesting. But I know what you mean. So far she's hitting the spammy moves that look good, but there's more to that when it comes to wrestling. So I do know what you mean, but I'm hoping it connects and she could become a big star here. But yeah.
We see Tony D'Angelo backstage, who is still, shocked by the betrayal of Stacks.
Oh, yeah.
And Wesley, Tyson, and Tyreek come in, and Wes mocks him, asking, "Hey, Tony, how's the family?" And Tony says, "Well, you know what it's like stabbing family in the back. You did to Wentz what Stax did to me." Wes goes, "Yeah, and I'd do it again." And then Wes goes up to Tony and smells him. And he's like, something's different about you. Less confidence. That's why you're not in the Battle Royal. Tony goes, "Yeah, well, you've got all the confidence, but you lack instincts." And tells Wes to take a shot at him. And Wes goes, "I wish I could, but I've got a Battle Royal to prepare for."
We will jump ahead, but we're going to get this match next week. It is announced by the end of the night that it's Tony D versus Wesley next week. But yeah, I mean, he's kind of right. This is why wouldn't Tony want to be in a Battle Royal for the #1 contendership, even if your buddy turned his back on you, because you could just focus on yourself. But he's saying, "I can't because I'm still focused on how my friend beat me up." I don't think it's weird that Wes sniffed him. I kind of do, but I kind of agree with Wes. Like the Tony that we know, like he's been betrayed. He's embarrassed. You know, his confidence is missing there. So he still looked good, though. He may not have smelled good. He probably did too, but he looked good with that suit, the black pinstripe, the red combo, always looking fresh. But
we see Lola Vice, who approaches Stephanie Vaquer and says, "Look, it doesn't matter who's going to face you at Battleground, because Stephanie, you're going to win." Kind of that Latina connection here, just looking out for her sister. However, says, "After Battleground, you will see me on the other side." And Giulia then comes in and says, "Stephanie, I'll see you at Battleground."
So maybe we're teasing a Lola match that we might get down the line, but will Giulia be the one to get revenge? I feel like Giulia, Roxanne, their foot's already half out the door with Raw, so it's like
this could be it with Giulia after tonight's show.
Yeah.
We go to our 25-man Battle Royal. The winner of the match will be facing Obafemi for the NXT Championship at Battleground. We see Javon Evans and Ethan Page make their entrance as everyone else is in the ring, which includes TNA talent, it includes Evolve and LFG talent. And then the lights go out and we hear a strum. And the PC goes wild. So you hear, "Hello, I am Elijah." We've got the "walk with Elias" chants from the crowd. And he starts to sing as he's strumming towards the ring. Goes, "I saw a friend in need and I saw Trick Willie. So I decided to come to NXT. TNA, we walk this way. I got one more thing to say. NXT, walk with me." And then we got the welcome home chants. And he asks, "I got one question for everyone here tonight. Who wants to walk with Elijah?"
How wild is it that WWE has this like partnership with TNA, but when a TNA superstar who used to have a WWE licensed name comes back to do a WWE show appearance, is not allowed to use their old name? So he's using Elijah, which I'm sure somewhere Kevin Owens is just screaming and breaking his TV into pieces. Like, there's another one of these fucking guys, these brothers.
I thought there was such a missed opportunity here to make that joke about this. Like, it was pretty. We say this on What's Next whenever it's the Aiden English song, where we go, "Okay, it's pretty by the numbers." But I felt here you could have said something like, "This is my first time in WWE. Right. You might be familiar with my brothers." What was it? Elias. Who was the other? Ezekiel, right? Like bringing something up with that, because obviously we've seen this. Like, everyone, they're TNA talent. They're going to come in with their TNA names. We've seen that with Zachary Wentz and with Ash by Elegance when she showed up and that kind of thing. But with this character, I thought it was such a missed opportunity not to have some fun, that this isn't Elias. This isn't Elias returning to NXT with a different name. This is the third brother.
Wow. Yeah. I saw this on Twitter, but someone in the chat, Big Time Baxter in the chat, saying CW actually bleeped out the beginning when the crowd chanted, "Oh, walk with Elias." So I'm wondering if it's because of a copyright thing. That would be stupid. Don't they own it? Like, I don't know.
Possibly lapsed by, like, how long's he gone? 2 years?
Yeah, they probably don't even want that anymore. Like, you could probably go and use that for, like, I don't know if you saw the thing with Edge, but like they pretty much let that one go because they're like, yeah, whatever, just do your.
Oh, they picked it back up again.
Oh, really? They're like,
yeah.
No. You're like,
as soon as like Twitter found out about it, they're like, oh, we'll have that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I always kind of disliked the Drifter in NXT because he never really is a great wrestler. But then as like time went on with the Elias thing, the walk with Elias, especially on the main roster, I just thought he was so hilarious. Like the wrestling became not needed really with the character. And I'd say at some point, I remember the Kevin Owens feud with him, but I remember when him and Kevin Owens would cut promos together.
Oh, it was that one line. Was it the Wizards? No, what team was it?
What was that?
It was the team that moved away.
So good.
Blanking.
Oh, they were so hilarious.
So
yeah, I got a soft spot for the Drifter. I remember that used to be his name in NXT all these years ago. So the welcome back chants were warranted because oddly enough, I do see the Walk with Elias tour band T-shirt out in the public way more often than you'd think. Like that must have been a hot seller because I see it still to this day.
Okay, one more thing. Like we've been covering NXT for a long time. You even more than me. We have Corey Graves back on commentary in NXT, and Corey hated this guy. Do you remember?
Right.
Like it was always like Corey was the heel commentator who would like not like the baby faces and love the heels apart from Elias. And he always hated Elias. And I just thought, again, just something that, you know, for your diehard fans could have been pretty fun. Like, oh,
did Corey not say anything?
I hate this guy. Nothing that kind of drew my attention.
Yeah. Long live Elias. Walk with him.
Yes. So we go to the 25-man battle royal, including all this talent. A lot. I think Eddie Thorpe's still in that picture there.
There's a few people they had to Photoshop out, I guess. But technically, this is a bit of a Worlds Collide type situation because we're having the Evolve people. We have some from Evolve. We have some from this LFG. We have technically some from TNA wrestling. We have some from, I don't know, what's Thatcher been doing other than Evolve? Bloodsport? Is he even still under WWE? I guess, because he's here. But we got like Noah because of Inamura technically in this thing. So there's people from all over the place in this match. But I'd say we usually cherry pick and tell you like, hey, check out this match. I'd say the second half of this battle royal is definitely where like it really picks up and was pretty fun. But it took me a few while. Like this goes on for a while. I knew when they put it in the middle of the show, like, oh boy, they're gonna go along with this one. And there was a few times where I was like, who is this person? Oh right, LFG. Okay, who is this person? Evolve. Okay, right. But I'd say as it kind of started to pick up, it really did. That's just my 2 cents.
So Lexis King immediately eliminates Chris Island. Braden, what's your favorite Chris Island match?
This one.
Oh, really? I loved the Chris Island and Penina Twalipa versus Shiloh Hill and Xena Sterling match.
Was that from this week or last week?
That was like 2 weeks ago. I think around the 27th of April, something like that. But
okay, right.
Yeah, that match was great. But alas, wasn't as impressive in this one because eliminated right away by Lexis King, who is celebrating, and Shiloh Hill eliminates King right away, right off the bat. We see Ashanti the Adonis, who decides to just dip and chill on the outside for a bit.
What did his shirt say? It said something Survivor. Was it Heartbreak Survivor? Because that'd be hilarious.
Not Release Survivor, because I thought this guy was getting his 30 days.
Like, I wasn't sure what it said, but either way, I loved it, I think.
Charlie Dempsey asks Miles for help, who conveniently doesn't hear him and turns away. And then Dempsey gets eliminated right from this. Inamura then eliminates Brad Baylor. And then Trick comes flying in with the flying neck breaker to Inamura. And then Ashanti runs in and tries to eliminate Trick, who holds on. Ashanti is then delivering super kicks all round. and then goes to eliminate Shiloh Hill, but Trick comes back and hits this huge uppercut, which sends Ashanti flying over the top rope. Not often you get seen like just a punch eliminating someone, but Ashanti sold this great. During the break, Wes and Wentz momentarily team up to eliminate Ricky Smokes before Tyson then like takes out Wentz. Briggs goes for a big boot, which looks like it might have been meant for Inamura, but hits DuPont in the process, eliminating him. And Inamura looks shocked. He's like, was that meant for me? We then see Ethan Page eliminates Timothy Thatcher. Welcome back. See you later. Shiloh Hill goes to eliminate Sean Spears, but Nico Vance sacrifices himself for his leader here and gets eliminated in the process. There's then a pump kick from Trick Williams, which takes out Shiloh Hill, who they note is the LFG semifinalist. Booker T is then... He's on one tonight. He's going off on how much he doesn't like Zachary Wentz. He's going, why is Zachary Wentz here? He's trying to steal the spotlight. Why is he here? He shouldn't be here. And they're like, yo, Book, it's like open. Like, it's open for anyone. He's TNA. TNA talent are allowed. And then Booker goes, yeah, man. Like, I want that Zachary Wentz kid to win.
And then they're like, do you hate him because he has green hair? And he's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, but now I like this kid and I want him to win. So just what? Jensen.
Any wrestler ever, and you're in a match in NXT, and just in the slight of your ear, you hear Booker T hating on you. Roll out of the ring, go ringside, and say, Booker, I'll do the next reality of wrestling show. He will right away be like, he's gonna win the match, because they did the classic. Booker used to do this on main roster a lot, where he'd be like, oh yeah, what is it? The Fab Five, where he's like, yeah, my guy's going to win. And then Vic and Corey are like, who's your guy? And he's like, I'll let you know as the match goes on.
Yeah. We then see Jensen, who leaps over the top rope, taking out Tyreek, but also taking himself out in the process. And Corey references Mil Mascaras from the Royal Rumble, who just forgot the rules and dove to the outside. There was some nice old callbacks from Corey and Vic on this show tonight. There was then a backflip into a knee from Wentz to Wes. Briggs and Inamura then go after Tavion when Ridge comes in, eliminating them in the process. Eliminating Tavion in the process. And now Briggs and Inamura team up against Ridge. And then Briggs and Ridge are fighting on the apron when Inamura charges and accidentally eliminates Josh Briggs. So Briggs is on the floor like, did you mean to do that? Inamura's looking all apologetic. Javon then leaps off the top rope and eats a knee from Elijah. And then Wes and Wentz square off again. However, Page and Spears break them up and Ego eliminates Wentz. Trick then comes flying in with a huge trick shot, which knocks Wes off the apron, eliminating him. And then we go to a second commercial break. And then after that, Inamura and Ridge are slugging it out. There's getting the meat chants from the crowd. They're trading clotheslines in the ropes. And then Trick comes in and double clotheslines both out of the ring. And then say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry comes out. And Trick looks shocked that Hendry's coming back after him. And Elijah eliminates the distracted Trick, allowing Hendry and Trick to then brawl up the entranceway. There's then a spear that eliminates Elijah. Sean Spears then eliminates Elijah. And then Sean Legacy comes in with a huge springboard drop kick to Spears and a massive pump kick to Javon. Goes to throw Javon out of the ring, who counters with like a seated springboard, very like Leo Rush used to do, off the bottom rope, and flips over Legacy here, hitting a German suplex. And then Sean Legacy charges in the corner with like a Kyle Fletcher-like kick to Javon's face, which looked pretty snug and great. And then Javon comes back with his spinning, bouncing kick, and Ethan low bridges the ropes that sends Sean Legacy out the ring. Not seen this Sean Legacy guy before, but I thought this last little segment here with him and Javon was a great showcase for him.
Mm-hmm.
We then have the final four. They're all in their respective corners. It's Sean Spears, Javon Evans, Ethan Page, and Miles Bourne. Bourne is delivering the Randy Orton power slams all round and a big belly-to-belly suplex. Javon and Spears are then fighting on the apron, and Javon goes for his cutter off the turnbuckle, but gets kicked off by Paige, and Javon just manages to hold on. You know this guy is preparing to take over the Kofi spot in
the Rumble.
Years to come.
They teased like 4 times of the like throwing and like how 1 foot, and at one point it actually like all of the, it looks like he's gonna slip, so he's already really good at these selling of like, oh, you think I'm gonna fall, but we know that can sometimes bite you in the ass. But I thought he did a great job of, because then finally when he gets thrown out, it's like, you did so well.
Javon then comes flying in with a springboard double stomp to both Paige and Spears, almost like a cave in here. He's coming in with cutters all round, and then he does one more springboard, but gets caught by both Paige and Spears, who dump him to the outside, eliminating him. Spears then tries to throw Ethan Page out, who turns it round, throwing Spears out, who is now skinning the cat, trying to hold on. And Ethan Page goes to clothesline Miles Bourne, who ducks, turns around, hits a beautiful looking drop kick, which sends Page over the top rope, causing him to crash into Spears, and both fall to the floor, meaning that Miles Bourne is your winner.
Whoa, shocker. A bit of an upset here. I don't think anyone saw this coming, but I'd say in that final stretch of this match, like Javon was going crazy, as you were saying, hitting all these crazy moves, but it was Miles in this final stretch that was doing the most. Like he was doing the power slams, the drop kicks, and ducking and dodging everything. He was so impressive that I found myself cheering for him. And then he ended up winning, which I was like, oh my God, I did not expect that, which made it even, I think, more shocking, a bit more of an upset. But again, like a really fun battle royal, especially that second half, like all things going off at once, like everyone's hitting spots left and right and countering everything. Like you said, that legacy guy, I'm not super familiar with him, but instantly showed me that he could hang with the likes of Javon and Miles and all them. So like I'd be interested to see some more of that guy. I can't say the same about some of the other LFG guys, but it was battle royal. You only get so much spots and stuff, but they clearly chose to focus on legacy from that crop. But there's a lot to like unpack, because the Sean Spears thing with Ethan Page, like maybe there's some sort of an alliance, the Niagara Falls Hamilton connection, shout out.
We've seen them kind of team up before, haven't we? These two?
The Ontario boys, the Canadians. But also Nico Vance like dodged the bullet for Spears in this match, and then Brooks eliminated himself also. So like they're like his sacrificial lambs, the culling, as we call them, as they call themselves that. So that's the sacrifice that they do for Sean Spears. But overall, pretty fun match, and I think an upset of a win, but makes for a way more interesting matchup come time for the PLE. So I'm loving it. We've been loving Miles Bourne, and we've been loving the No Quarter Catch crew as a whole, but specifically this guy is pretty interesting. And I know he got the baby Randy chance during this match, but he's a whole lot more than just a young Randy Orton. But I'm interested. I like this kid.
Yeah, I thought this was one of the best battle royals NXT's done. I thought really fun, especially, the second half, once you've eliminated half the crop. Commentary had such a hard job as well. I thought they did pretty well in highlighting who some of these unknowns are, the LFG talent, the Evolve talent, the TNA talent, who not everyone is going to know. I thought they did a pretty good job there. But the last half of this I thought was so exciting. I thought you had some great little segments in there, the little stories with Wentz and Wes that was weaved in throughout the match, the Inamura Josh Briggs stuff that was weaved in. You had a little bit of a meat match with Ridge and Inamura, which was fun. And then just as I said, the showcase for Sean Legacy, and Javon is just so exciting to watch, like absolute star in the making. But we've been saying this for weeks about the men's division, and you're going to have to pull the trigger on some of these kids to try and elevate them to this main event scene, because it is still kind of lacking. And Miles Bourne's been getting the crowd reactions recently, and I think the backstage segments he's been coming across as pretty fun, and like a pretty fun promo the other week when he cut one. And I think this is exactly the right move. I don't see this necessarily closing the show. I think the women's match will close Battleground, but why not? You've got to pull the trigger with some of these people. And I don't want to kick the guy on the way out, but I'm way more interested in this than like an Eddie Thorpe, if you will, or something like that. I think this could really be a making moment for Miles Bourne. So
yeah.
And also not a particular like cliche ending. We see a lot of these, and I was so expecting like an Ethan Page to just disappear halfway through the match, and you think Miles Bourne has won, and then he's tossed out. But pretty definitive win here at the end. I thought it was great. I really loved this, and I think it's definitely worth checking out, and got significant time as well, which I wasn't expecting, because normally these go about 10 minutes, but this had a decent length to it.
They made it like, yeah, as soon as it was kicking off halfway through the show, I was like, oh, I guess because they want to give it time. And they totally did. They treated it like a big deal. They really got over that the winner gets a title shot. That's just as simple as that. So going with someone who's never really been in this position before is totally fresh. And I think we were saying that it would be cool. It was being outside of the box choice to have Charlie kind of go for the title. And they totally went with that group, but they went with someone else. And later we'll see like what Charlie has to say, because as they're celebrating, Ren is in there, Tavion, but Charlie didn't go in the ring to celebrate with him.
He's just slow clapping on the floor.
Yeah, so maybe he's a little jelly there. But honestly, a fun match, a little snippet of kind of some other things going on. You had the Wentz and Wes thing. If we ever are to go back to that, like they were teaming up for a brief period, and Wes had a bit of a look when Tyson and Tyreek attacked Wentz. He was kind of like, hey, wait.
Hey, we were cooking then. We had something going.
Yeah, only I get to beat him up. So never say never with MSK getting back together one day. But I thought this was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I was genuinely shocked with the outcome. And I think Miles and Oba come Battleground will actually have a bit of a surprising match, because if you didn't check out, what was it, the last time Miles got a PLE, Tavion and Miles versus Fraxium was like such an underrated match from the last year. And I'm a little like, okay, this is out of the left field. Like this is a sink or swim situation. Like you're putting someone who's in a tag team that's not heavily focused all the time now in a title match. Let's see.
It's the most interesting though, right? Like, cause you don't really want Javon to go up for it again unless he's going to win, and I don't think that's necessarily going to happen quite yet. We've seen like Trick is doing the stuff with Joe Hendry, and like Trick Oba doesn't necessarily interest me as much at this point. And then your other options are like your Sean Spears, your Rich Hollands, your Ethan Pages, who that doesn't really interest me either. So I think going left field here was completely the right move. We see Jordynne Grace backstage. He says she's asked about Giulia, and she says, last week we fought out of the arena. This week we have to keep it in the ring, and I need to beat her and take control of this women's division. This is when Izzy Dane comes in and says, that was a good attempt at being interesting. And then Lash Legend walks in. You know, Lash has had a weird week. Last week she's like, hey guys, how about we break up? Metaphor, no more. We go off on our own way. And then she's on Twitter going, say it ain't so. Why did this happen? It's like, Lash.
Girl, you did it.
And now she's coming in. She's like, woo, it's my birthday.
Guess who didn't get released? Yeah. Looking like an absolute giant standing next to Jordynne Grace. What the hell? Was she on platforms or something? She looked like Godzilla next to Jordynne Grace here. And Jordynne Grace is a unit, but just not a tall person per se. And oh my God, that size difference. Just search this if you haven't watched NXT. Just the size difference alone. I can't wait to see this match, to be honest, because I forget how kind of tall Lash Legend is. But yeah, Lash seemed pretty happy here that half of her friends were released, and she's like, it's the birthday girl is here. Lash is ready. I was like, damn, okay. That's how it is.
Yeah, I've got
oh my God. Clears her. Like, geez, it's ridiculous. But so the Lash solo tour begins now, I guess, without Jakara, without the Meta Girl. Like, that's all gone now.
Yes. Grace just says, look, I know where this is going. How about after I win the #1 contendership, and I win the title, I will see you both after Battleground. And that takes us to our next match, Carmen Petrovic taking on Jada Parker. Carmen goes for this low pay crossbody to the floor, comes up a little short on it, and then she comes back in the ring as Jada catches her with a back elbow, followed by a blockbuster, and then hits the teardrop in the corner, followed by her high step pose. And then Corey and Vic do like a Perry Saturn callback as I guess Jada's applying a move to Carmen that looks very Perry Saturn-esque. Carmen then hits a sling blade off the second rope and then goes for like the sort of Robinson special, but misses it and then gets caught with the hypnotic for the win.
Kind of gets caught with the hypnotic. Again, that's the story of this move. It just doesn't look like it's necessarily a wrestling move or like sometimes it looks really good. I don't think this is one of the times, but Jada's other moves look like they look good, but just that running butt to the face doesn't necessarily scream knockout. It didn't look too great in this match. I didn't think this was necessarily much of a match. I think this was pretty much Jada kind of squashing Carmen, as we've kind of seen in the last little while with Carmen, but Jada has like kind of perfected the character. She has gotten a lot better in the ring. And I think at one point we can get her to the NXT title. Like we had her challenging for it, but obviously she didn't win, but I don't know what else we do with her right now. But my only still critique is that running hip attack is still kind of weak, but I think also Carmen called, she calls her the Shing Shing gang or whatever. When she jumped off the top for that sling blade, I think she yelled Shing Blade off the top. So there you go. Yeah,
I didn't think this was very good. I thought Carmen just pretty much everything she tried to hit just didn't look great this week. Like we've seen her be better, but I just thought she sort of came up short on everything. And yeah, I just didn't think they gelled particularly well here. After the match, Jada continues the beatdown when Thea Hale runs out, but gets hit by Hypnotic off the apron. And then Carmen goes to kick Jada in the head, but Jada ducks and escapes. It's kind of weird because they're very much having Jada Parker as the heel here, but the crowd just love her and want to cheer along for her and everything. Yeah. So kind of, I don't know how much longer you can really have her. Like still keep the attitude, but beatdowns and things like that just a bit too heelish considering how popular she is right now.
Yeah, they really like Jada right now. So like you could have her as this like, anti-hero essentially, like the not doing the beat. I don't think she needed, it kind of felt weird because she's not really a heel because of just how she's being cheered and stuff. I don't know. It's a little backwards, but also it's like, what are we doing with her coming forward? What are we going to do with Thea Hale, with Carmen? I'm not quite sure, but yeah.
We see Joe Hendry backstage with Ava, who's Ava's saying, this has to end. We can't have Trick Williams ruining matches at TNA and you coming out here and ruining matches here and brawling all over the place. So I've been talking with Santino and we have agreed that at Battleground, it'll be Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry. But for the first time ever in WWE, it will be for the TNA Championship. And Joe Hendry is told that there'll be a contract signing next week. And he says, I'll be there. Yeah, we sort of theorized that this is possibly going to happen. But yeah, TNA Championship at Battleground. Trick Williams, Joe Hendry.
So when TNA did the crossover with AEW, we saw their champion lose the title. Will we see the same thing, the same fate for TNA yet again? Hey, we want to do business with you. Oh yeah, what kind of business? We're gonna borrow some of your wrestlers. We're gonna put them on our show. Oh yeah, we'll give you some wrestlers too. Okay, who do you want? We want your champions. We want Moose. We want Joe Hendry. We want the Hardy Boys. Okay, cool. Who do we get? Cora Jade, the Sleepy Girl. Yeah, it's the best we can do. Oh, okay, works for us. Hey, what about you? We booked your champion on WrestleMania. Whoa, really? Yeah, he's going to lose in 2 minutes. Fuck it. Let's go. Put him on the show. All right. Hey, what if we put your champion in a match against one of our former champions, but it's for your title and you lose. Yeah, all right, let's do it. That's probably what's going to happen. I hope Trick Williams breaks the record books for WWE historians, because there's a chance Trick is walking out as TNA Impact World Champion.
I do think, I know you're having fun, but I think this is a much better partnership than we're actually seeing TNA footage on NXT TV, and NXT are kind of encouraging you. Like, they're talking about TNA stories. Right. They're saying things that are happening. Whereas AEW pretended TNA didn't exist.
They shit on TNA way more than WWE. There's not anything AEW, WWE, MLW, whatever W show. There's nothing any of these shows can do to make me watch TNA. That's just, the stink is there for me personally. But WWE NXT has been doing way more of like, hey, look, Trick showed up last week. Like, look at the footage here. Trick showed up and beat him up, and if you didn't watch, that's what happened this week. So you got to tune in this week. And they've done that. They showed when they had other wrestlers competing in other matches. The No Quarter Catch crew was there months ago, and they were focusing. They were showing you. So, like, I get what you're saying. Like, they're giving you a reason to go watch it, but it's still NXT. So there's a lot of people that still don't watch NXT or TNA who are like, well, it's not WWE doing a partnership with, it's NXT doing a partnership with TNA. So I kind of see it from both sides. But again, kind of going back to this, do you see Trick taking this title from him?
I do. I think he should. I think Joe should eventually win it back off him. But I think it could be fun, especially with this sort of, if Trick is continuing with this Hollywood gimmick, I think it could work really well with Trick as the champion. Mm-hmm. But eventually I would drop it back to Joe as well.
Yeah, that would maybe be fair. And if you did it on like a TNA pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right? Like to flip it back there. But yeah, I'm not necessarily against this. I like this synergy that they're working together. And if you have Trick win that's pretty cool, considering no one really has done that. We've had lots of former TNA champions who've become WWE superstars who've gone on to be WWE champions and so forth, but never a WWE star currently holding gold like that. So that would be all kinds of different things we've not been used to. But if you asked people years and years ago of like who, or even weeks, months ago, like what WWE superstar would you want as TNA champion? I don't think Trick would be at the top of people's list, but we'll see if that could happen. And I would put the title on him. I would have Trick work more of these TNA circles and cycles. Maybe that's something that would help him, right? Like, I think the one critique most people say is that his in-ring work maybe still isn't at a level that a lot of other people are at. Well, if he's working these loops, then the chance he's going to get those laps in. So maybe it is a good idea. Yeah. Book it.
We get a video for OTM. I had no idea what they were saying. They ain't begging. I don't know. They've both got a bunch of marbles in their mouth. I don't fucking understand a word these guys are saying. They were throwing dollar bills down. I guess they want the tag titles.
They said we let the noise die down and we got sloppy. We've been out the mud forever, but now it's time we up. And says that teams are begging for title opportunities, but we ain't begging. And says we got to take it for ourselves. I was asking myself during this program, oh yeah, whatever happened to these guys? I got my answer, I guess, that they're still here and they're still out the mud. But I don't know. If they've been shooting in the gym and getting better and getting their reps in, then I'll have interest. But I can't say they've been too impressive with what we've seen in the last year or so. But I don't. They're still so new, but I don't know. You said you can't even understand them, so like that's obviously also not a positive.
You said they said they've been sloppy. Their speech is fucking sloppy. I'm like, I don't understand them at all.
Is it the grills? What do they have grills on?
No, they have no diction. Swerve wears grills. Plenty of people wear grills, and I understand them fine. They don't speak well on TV. But they ain't begging. We see Wes who reads something on his phone, and he goes, you know what they say? Every man has a price.
$1 Million Man coming back.
I imagine Stax is paying him off or something. Do you think?
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so yeah, Wes versus Tony is is like announced, and then he's on the phone with someone. Yeah, I think he was on the phone with Stax, is what you're saying. Like Stax is going to pay him to break his leg for me or something along those lines. So we're going to see some dirty work there. But yeah, I don't know. This Wes thing we said it, broken record, but it's so backwards. Like at this point in time, in another universe, another timeline, Wes has been a champion. Wes is the champion. Wes has maybe moved on to like the main roster. Like, I don't know. Ever since turning heel, I just feel like it was such a missed opportunity in NXT for months and months. I'm sure not even just us, but many fans are like, oh, like we're running out of people to focus on in NXT. And that's what we had to bring in other people. It's like Wes was right there. And Wes has been right there. But this heel turn is a bit of a misstep, I think, because like a big moment in NXT could be him winning as a babyface the title. And it just feels like we're so removed from that Wes that it's so far gone.
I felt this week was the most comfortable he's seemed as a heel. Like I thought he came across like very just like shitty throughout the episode, but like less forced when he first turned, which felt very forced. But I agree, like it's the wrong. He should have been champion a while ago, and it should have been a real like big moment, like the babyface Wesley winning the world title, the NXT title. But yeah, very odd. We see Inamura who's leaving, and Josh Briggs. Oh, this is heartbreaking. Josh Briggs runs after him, and Inamura stops him. I know what you're going to say. I'm disappointed in you. I'm sorry. And I spoke to Ava tonight, and I'm going back to Japan. And Briggs goes, but I don't want you to go. Goodbye, my friend. As he hands the vest back.
No,
Briggs.
Not the vest back.
Not the vest.
Oh, take my life. I could hear Celine Dion playing in the background. Could you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is when the culling approach, and Brooks Jensen goes up to his former tag partner, Josh Briggs, and says, I know that feeling. I hate that feeling. It sucks. And you always think it's the partner, but maybe the problem is you.
Ooh.
I like this callback here. I'm surprised it's taken this long for these two to kind of have any sort of interaction, but Brooks should be pissed off with Briggs. He's like, oh, you wanted to go off on your own and have a singles run, and then you just met this other bloke and became a tag team.
Yeah. I think we're the only people that maybe like popped huge to have Brooks and Briggs on the same screen at the same time again. But I think this was pretty funny, having Briggs being so sad. I felt like there's some sort of relationship here between like, no, please stay with me. And he's like, nah, I talked to Ava. I'm getting on the train tonight, baby. I'm leaving. And you know what? You can keep your vest. It's like, oh, please. I
thought Briggs was going to be like, hey, no, but the vest is yours. You can keep it. And he's like, personal item only for my flight. Like,
I don't want your
no
stupid
space.
Vest. Yeah, I'm keeping the WWE logo T-shirt, but you're keeping the vest. I don't want it anymore. So maybe Briggs has to find someone else who fits this vest, or I don't know. We've been calling for a Briggs solo run, and it just feels like we're never gonna get there. But this made me laugh maybe more than it should, of just Briggs being like, no, please don't leave me.
I'm pleased we saw Jensen with some personality again, because been missing that as well.
Of course, yes.
We see the NQCC, and Charlie Dempsey says, okay, now everyone needs to prepare me for my match against Oba. And Miles goes, sorry, I know I'm hard of hearing, but for the betterment of the but did you say for the betterment of the team it will be you? And Charlie goes, yes, I'm going to stretch out that big meathead. And that's when Obafemi comes in and congratulates Miles. And Charlie goes, oh, actually, it will be me facing you at Battleground. And Miles corrects him and says, no, I won the Battle Royal. I will be facing Obafemi. But says that Dempsey can face him next week. And if he wins, it will be a triple threat. And Oba, and I was so pleased he said this, goes, I am done with triple threats. Yes, me too. But Miles goes, oh, well, you can have the match anyway. Remember what you were saying, that You're going to stretch that meathead. And Ren, didn't you hear him say that he was going to have Oba crying for mercy? And Oba just laughs and walks off. And Dempsey turns to Miles and says, "Wonderful selective hearing, Miles." And Miles goes, "Huh? What did you say?" And yeah, feigning ignorant here.
So Charlie trying to do Christian Cage patriarchy type stuff, like, "Oh yeah, I'll take the match. Thanks for winning this," and that's not the case. So next week, Charlie versus Oba, some sort of eliminator if he wins. I don't see them making this a triple threat. That would be kind of
Oba ruled it out. He's
especially with that joke. Yeah, especially with that. So I do still think it's going to be Miles and Oba at the thing. But I thought this was pretty funny. And like we've seen, they've referenced that, he's got he's partially deaf, selective hearing, this and that. And I think they weave it into promos and conversations pretty cleverly. If I'm like, I like when they do that. And it's cool that, someone who has, partial deaf or being partial deaf in the way you speak and everything, and still speaking and performing on television. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of moving. I'm not someone who has that. And I still think it's cool. So I could only imagine, people who do maybe even resonate that with a little bit more. So fuck yeah. Rock on, Miles Bourne.
We see Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors with Andre Chase, and they go, "Look, Mr. Chase, it's time for the sweater to go." Andre Chase says, "My sweater, but I only just got it back." They go, "Well, we've got some other stuff for you. We want you to try on." And first of all, it's like a zip-up crew neck jacket, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know about this one." And then they give him a red Chase U tracksuit. And they say, "That will look great ringside." And Chase goes, "Ringside?" And then looks at himself. "Actually, I kind of rock it."
And then they go, "New Chase U, new Chase fit."
Yes.
Wow. Very nice. Very red Adidas tracksuit. The pants and the what do you call this? Like those pants, the tracksuit, the Adidas. It didn't have Adidas. Instead, it says Chase U. Very Royal Tenenbaum-esque here with the red and the white. But I think he looked good wearing this thing. I think he looked the first one was more like a football coach, like sports thing. But the other one was more like the actual tracksuit. And I think it looked good. But I don't know. I'm a little worried about Cale Dixon and Uriah. Who is this? Uriah Faber? Uriah Connors. Yeah, Uriah Connors and Cale, like anyone who's been associated with this group, it kind of hasn't worked out. So
yeah,
I would be careful with maybe aligning, like out of all the stables to bring back from the dead. I don't necessarily think the track record of Chase U is the right one to go for, but I don't know. Like we've now treaded water. We've recycled Chase U already. It's worked. It really worked last year, but like, I don't know. It's kind of maybe like we're going to go back to it now, but we already killed it. So like, I don't know how I feel about it.
I was just disappointed. I thought they were finally going to be like, "Hey, you've been here a while. It's time you get some ring gear."
Yeah.
And actually give him some actual ring gear, but no. The tracksuit was nice enough.
It's a nice tracksuit. I just like, we're going to do the same thing now where like.
It's better than the sweater, honestly, to wrestle in. Like it's more athletic.
I couldn't imagine wrestling in either of those things. Like you're going to sweat no matter what. There's so much clothing on. Like, but I don't know where we're going to go with this. I'm happy Chase U is back, but fool me once, can't get fooled again. And I'm worried that we're just going to recycle the bits a little bit.
Yeah. We go to our main event, Giulia versus Jordynne Grace, to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Grace very early on hits this like over the head throw, and Giulia just lands like on the top of her head. Look pretty nasty here.
Very scary spot. Like this is a move we've seen Jordynne Grace hit. She like tilt-a-whirls you and like pancakes you, like flapjacks you almost, but Giulia lands like on the forehead, and right away the ref checks on her, and I guess she said that she was okay because right away Jordynne Grace continues to put the boots on her, and then like 5 minutes later hits her with a pretty snug looking Michinoku driver. I'm like, oh, okay. I think it's just Giulia's like, man, I've been in NXT playing with soccer players and volleyball players. Like, Jordynne, throw me on my fucking head. Let's go. Yeah. So we got that in this match. I was worried for a second.
We get this interesting like rib breaker move from Grace, followed by an STO from Giulia. Grace goes to suplex Giulia from the apron to the ring off the second rope, but now Giulia gives a bit of a receipt, I guess, by tripping Grace, and she just slams her neck back on the apron, and then followed up with a neck breaker off the apron to the floor from Giulia. After the break, we see Giulia continuing to target the neck of Jordynne Grace with a guillotine. Grace tries to power out of it, but eats some headbutts, and then Giulia gets caught with a Northern Light suplex to break the hold. Then there's 2 body slams from Grace. She goes for the third, and Giulia is like holding back as much as she can. So she just picks her up and dumps her in this Michinoku driver, as you mentioned, which just looked terrifying.
Crazy.
Just right on the top of Giulia's head. There's then a delayed vertical suplex off the second rope from Jordynne, turned right into the jackhammer for a 2 count. She goes for her Juggernaut driver, which I believe she's now calling Beast Mode, which gets counted into the DDT, followed by a Northern Lights driver for a 2 count from Giulia. Giulia then goes for the Northern Lights bomb, but that gets blocked, and Giulia applies an octopus to Jordynne Grace, goes for the Northern Lights bomb again, which gets countered into the tombstone position, which then goes to this like wheelbarrow back suplex from Jordynne Grace, which looked great, followed by a back fist and then beast mode, and Jordynne Grace pins Giulia clean 1, 2, 3, and will be facing Stephanie Vicaire at Battleground.
Yeah, these women went out there and were beating each other up, and I love to see it. I think Giulia will be leaving NXT to go to main roster full time with how much she's been appearing on Monday Night Raw and the stuff with Roxanne. And I think it's apparent that we're okay without Giulia right now. I think we can let her go and see what she can do on the main roster. But if this was the last or one of the last appearances on NXT, like, she went out with a bang. This was a really great match. I think I got really into this, like the violence really from the beginning, with dropping her on her head, continuing, then dropping her on her head. Then she drops Jordynne on her head with her like fire thunder driver thing. And then that DDT, like, they were going at it. This was very like hard hitting. And I think maybe it's like, yeah, what did you expect? Jordynne Grace has been doing this way before WWE, these hard hitting matches. Same with Giulia. And it was my only critique is I wish we got even more, because I really liked this. And hopefully this is the Giulia that we only got little bits and pieces of. I think we didn't fully get the real Giulia, but I think here in NXT, I mean, but like here, this is the Giulia that we really like to see, like very aggressive, like in-ring wrestling, the Joshi dropping on her head spots. And yeah. And then this is all setting up for Jordynne versus Stephanie, which easily could close the show and should close the show at Battleground. That is the money match right there. Jordynne Grace and Stephanie Vicaire, dream match, and one-on-one finally going to happen. Stephanie comes out, we get the face-to-face, and it is official. And that's it. That's going to be a banger, if you will. So very looking forward to that. Yeah.
A few times in this, I like gasped. I hope they're okay. But it added to the match for sure. It added to the drama of the match, and it was very hard hitting and a great main event. And then, to close the show, Stephanie comes out to just pose with the championship and face off with Jordynne Grace. But I thought really enjoyable episode of NXT. I think between the Battle Royal and the main event especially, but I thought Kelani Jordan ZARIA was pretty fun as well. And the opening tag was pretty fun. A lot of story progression on the show. I really enjoyed this one. I think this has been the best show since, what was it, Roadblock? Best TV episode.
Yeah, there was some good wrestling between the Battle Royal and the main event specifically. Like, I got some hard-hitting stuff, and like the focus on the women, giving them the main event, which again, I think they will come Battleground, rightfully so. Like, they've been killing it, and Miles Bourne winning might be a bit of a sleeper choice there. But at the end of the day, I hope we're talking about how great he did against his match with Oba. I think we're writing him off. I don't think he's going to beat Oba, but I'm really interested to see how that match kind of plays out. And for next week on NXT, we have Charlie Dempsey versus Oba Femi. We've got Tony versus Wes, and the contract signing between Joe and Trick, and I'm sure they will add some more things down the line. But yeah, a pretty solid episode. I kind of went into it like, okay, where are we going to go for Battleground? And I couldn't necessarily see where we were going to go. And I don't think anyone would have assumed they would have gone with Miles Bourne. But at the same time, I think we're all like, okay, let's see what he can do. And I think Battleground will be good. They usually are. Usually it's like the NXT pay-per-views or specials lately have been pretty good wrestling-wise. So I think they'll deliver again.
Well, that's what we thought. Let's find out what you guys thought. Every week we post on our Poison Rana Facebook group. If you haven't joined yet, why not? If you do have Facebook, search for Poison Rana. You'll find our page, and that'll lead you to the private group where you can leave your feedback every Tuesday for NXT.
Yes, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all the things. But I'm going to read from Fire Frank, who writes in here, finally, the lesser known of the Samson brothers makes his debut in NXT, Elijah. That battle royal was a lot of fun, way better than your average one. Great finishing sequence that had me on my feet. I popped for Miles pulling off the upset. Let's see how he does in there with Oba. It's a big step forward for the man we like to call Young Randy. Trick going for the TNA gold at the PLE. Can he pull it off? I think he will. Briggs is alone again with his vest. Sad. Grace and Giulia gave us a taste of what they can do and left me wanting more. Steph versus Jordan. Yes, I'm all over that one for Battleground. I enjoyed this episode, which really put the build for Battleground into overdrive while also delivering all around. Good time.
And we finished with Megan, who says, Oba echoed my exact feelings about triple threats. I, too, am so done with them. I hope Kevin Owens wasn't watching Elijah show up on NXT. I bet he crashed out. Compared to past battle royals, this was slightly above average. Good for Miles Bourne getting a shot against the ruler. Nice to see Sean Legacy get exposed to a bigger audience. That dude is legit. I had a gut feeling Trick wouldn't win win the battle royal because of his business with Joe Hendry. It's going to be a busy Memorial Day weekend for both men. The tag match at Under Siege, Trick and Kazarian versus Hendry and Elijah. Just across the road in Brampton, and Battleground for the TNA World title. To quote The Wire, all the pieces matter. I'm still not sold on DarkState. They're like a poor man's Shield. I love that Andre Chase traded a sweater for a tracksuit. He's going to move around a lot better in it. The main event, as usual, was the goods. Jordynne Grace and Giulia laid all their shit in from bell to bell, and thank God there wasn't a distraction finish. I'm glad Battleground will give me 1v1 matches. I'm sure her and Stephanie Vicaire are going to body it in Tampa. Solid 2 hours.
Absolutely, yes. So we have 3 matches announced for Battleground. Megan was just referencing that TNA, yes, Davey, they're coming to Brampton, Ontario. Trick and Kazarian versus Joe and Elijah. Are you going to go to Brampton
Let's
to watch?
Fucking go.
To watch TNA. I think they're doing 2 nights here, right? Under Siege on the Friday,
yeah,
and the Saturday, like a TV taping. But yeah, some cool synergy there with TNA and NXT. And hey, why not? All the wrestling, connecting all the different things together. So there you go. That was us. Thank you, Megan and Frank, our upNexperts, always writing in every Tuesday. Join the Facebook group if you haven't. Poisonrana.ca for links of all the other stuff that we do. Poison Rana live from this Sunday. We did go over all the releases. So if you want to hear us pour one out, we poured many, many out for all the WWE releases. And knock on wood, but we hopefully aren't going to be talking about more of them in the near future. But lots of wrestling. We can't do without you guys, our postmarks out there, all the Poison Pals. Appreciate you listening and supporting. Davey will be live this Sunday with our man Neil, 2 p.m. Eastern time for a Poison Rana, talking all about Backlash and everything this week in the world of wrestling. And then Davey, you and I will be back next Tuesday right here at Post Wrestling, 10:05 p.m. to talk about some more NXT and the build to Battleground. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all on the chat. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And go, Leafs. Go. It's going to be our year.
It is. It is.
It's going to be our year, man.
Year. Yeah.
It's going to happen. Bye.
Yeah. We need positive on post wrestling for the Leafs. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. Elbows up. See ya.
Ahoy.